Hello there, how are you? This is Lois Gidiga, an RCIC, that is a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. I am back with my videos. As usual, I do these short videos to educate you because I believe educated people make better decisions. These videos are just for your information purpose only. This should not be taken as legal advice. Should you need legal advice, please reach out to me. My email is lois@awebyyc.com. I'll be putting my email down here. So for any query, for any personal thing that you want to ask me about, please send me an email. All right? Actually, I just want to say here that for people who reach out to me, most of you know I do my consultations through Skype or Zoom or WhatsApp, whatever works out for you. So if you're interested in booking an appointment with me, please do so by email. Okay, as promised today, I say that I'll be coming to talk about the refugee class because I have been getting a lot of questions regarding this class, and this is a very broad class, so I don't have the hours to sit here and go into the nitty-gritty of this class, but I just want to give a general overview so that I can answer those broad questions that you have about this class. So usually in Canada, we have two major classes of refugee applications. So we have the inside Canada class and outside Canada class. For the outside Canada class, you gotta be outside your country of origin, that is outside the country that you're seeking asylum from. And these are people who are referred by the UNHCR to the Canadian government for resettlement. So you must be first assessed and determined to be either a convention refugee or a person in need of protection and who needs to be resettled elsewhere. So that is how you come to Canada, through that outside Canada class. That class also have some processing whereby people who are in Canada, who are relatives or friends of people who are out there in refugee camps or wherever. So those people can come together in groups of 5 and sponsor their already referred relatives. So those relatives also have to have been determined to be refugees by UNHCR for them to be sponsored through the group of 5s. We also do have churches here in Canada and other bodies that help people in sponsoring refugees outside Canada. So that is the general overview of the outside Canada class. I do not want to delve into a lot of details on that, but I want to talk a little bit more on the in Canada class. As I said, for the in Canada class, for any class, for you to be able to claim asylum in Canada, you must be outside your country of origin. That is outside the country that you're claiming refugee from. You also cannot claim refugee at the consulates abroad. No, you cannot do that. So for this in Canada class, you must be in Canada. So you come here through whichever means, you land in Canada and you claim refugee. Usually what I say for this class, this is one complicated class. So I always advise people, seek legal counsel before you file for asylum. Call an immigration consultant, call me, get a lawyer, get an attorney somewhere to make sure that first we assess your eligibility, because not everybody is eligible to seek asylum in Canada. So there is a certain criteria, and like every pathway in Canada, there is a criteria for refugee. So we need to assess that criteria to see whether you qualify to claim asylum here. There are also people who cannot claim asylum even if they fit the convention refugee, but they cannot claim. And there are so many factors that your counsel is going to advise you as to why you cannot claim a refugee. However, I just want to give a brief definition as to the people who fall under this class of convention refugee or people in need of protection. So you need to be facing persecution in your country of origin in matters of race, religion, political opinion, nationality, or membership to a social group, or just generally be a person deemed to be in need of protection here in Canada. So that is the definition of the convention refugee or the person who is in need of protection. So once we ascertain that and we know that now you can file for this class for asylum, then the next question that we need to be asking ourselves is, where do you do this? You can claim asylum either at the POE, that is at the point of entry, or you can do it inland in a designated immigration office in Canada. For the POE, that is either at the airport or at a land border. I strongly do not advocate for people to claim refugee at the POE. And the reason I do not advocate for that is when you do so, you will be working on a very strict timeline. So you have a limited number of days by which you need to give to give in your full application, your completed application. So it's always nice if you can avoid to do so at the POE. Please come into an inland office. By that time, you'll have bought yourself some time. You'll have sought counsel. You will have collected your documentation, have every document ready, have a good status of mind, because usually people who are running away from a situation, people who are running away from these issues, there's a lot at stake. These are issues of life and death. You need to approach them critically. You need to be very smart when you're doing this, and you need to be very prepared. And that is why, again, I say it's important if you can get counsel. Okay? So you've given in, you've handed in your application. So what next? So what comes next is your legal counsel, your immigration consultant, or myself. What we do is that we help you with your documentation. We help you file. We also prepare you for your hearing. We take you to your hearing, and during the hearing and after the hearing, depending on the outcome of the hearing, if you get a positive, if you're deemed to be a person in need of protection or a convention refugee, good for you. Then you can apply for permanent residence. If for any reason you are not found to be in need of protection, then legal counsel is going to help you get the next available option. So they'll give you the best options out there, whether you need to be doing an appeal, whether you need to be doing a judicial review. And again, those options are going to be very, very time specific, and you're going to be working with very strict timelines. One thing I want you to know is when you file in your application for asylum, you're going to be given a document called an unenforceable removal order. What that means is a removal order, but cannot be initiated by CBSA until your hearing is done. So that is one of the reasons why I'm saying make sure that your case is almost perfect, that you have handed in the right documentation, the right support for your case. You've prepared for your case. Your counsel has really advocated for you, because in case of anything and then you do not get that protection, then CBSA can initiate a removal, can initiate that removal, because you already have the removal order with you. Okay? And again, as I said, the only thing that may prevent CBSA from initiating the removal order is is going to depend on the options available to you immediately after the hearing. Did you file an appeal? Did you do a JR? So depending on all that, then that is going to determine whether CBSA is going to come after you and initiate that removal process. So that is in a nutshell what the In Canada class entails. Okay. If you have any question on this, please do not hesitate. Send me an email, lois@awebyc.com. Let me know. Okay, so please subscribe. We have a YouTube channel where I'll be posting more videos like this and others. The immigration class is quite broad, and I'll be talking about a lot of things. Actually, we have good news coming. We have a pilot project that is about to begin in November for permanent residency. So I'll be talking about that soon, and other classes and other issues that I have seen in my immigration journey. So reach out to us by email, like our page, Milala Immigration Services Canada. Follow us on Instagram. We are finally on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and share this video. Help somebody. Okay, thank you so much. I hope to see you next time. Have a good day or a good night. Bye bye for now.